To battle and bravery born, to battle and bravery Tyvar Kell returns to Kaldheim with boasts upon his lips and black tidings in his heart. Skemfar welcomes its wayward son with open arms after the ozone-laden atmosphere of New Phyrexia in the dingy safehouse swamp in Dominaria. It is a welcome thing to breathe good forest air into his lungs. But the moment he arrives, he knows he is too late. It is not to welcoming cheers he returns, but to the clatter of swords against metal, the howl of arrows in flight, and the screams of the pierced. In the distance, a sanguine trunk the size of a mountain strangles the world tree. White armor, glacier thick, protects it. Pods fall, the shed scales of this foul serpent, and the ground trembles with every arrival, each one met with the hammer of war. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Ether Hub. I'm Simon, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. Today we continue the story of March of the Machine, the latest set for MTG with a story that's really starting to heat up. To quickly recap the previous chapter, which you can find in full linked on your screen right now or in the description below, we followed some of our surviving Planeswalkers as they go to defend their homes, namely Kaido, the Wanderer, and Kaya, who fought for Kamigawa. There they met with a completed Tamiyo and have a fight for the soul of a Planeswalker. Really go check out that video, guys, it's a good one. Today we focus on the other surviving Planeswalkers and their homes. How do they fare as the invasion of Elesh Norn begins to shatter their worlds? Before we begin, if you're enjoying my content, consider leaving this video a like, supporting by becoming a subscriber or a member of the channel, and of course, sharing it with your friends. Now let's get into Chapter 4 of March of the Machine, Beneath Eyes Unblinking, written by K. Arsenault Rivera. Tyvar has made his way back to his home, the realm of Skemfar, wild and forested, the realm of the elves of Kaldheim. Though the fresh air here is welcomed after the oil-ridden smoke of New Phyrexia, it's not a realm at peace. The red and white jagged legs of Elesh Norn's invasion tree had pierced through Skemfar, and already pods of Phyrexians were launching an attack on the gathered elvish forces. This is where Tyvar felt most right, fighting for his home, for his people. He seamlessly changes the material of his arm to steel, wielding a weapon of himself, cutting through the monstrosities who dared challenge him. After a few felled opponents, he hears a familiar voice barking commands across the battlefield. It was his brother, the Elf King, Harold. Typically, the two would trade boasts during a fight, but this was different. This was a war unlike they've ever seen before. Victory wasn't assured. In fact, it seemed impossible. But the elves here are a different lot. They do not fear death. A glorious end was the best any of them could ask for. But this, New Phyrexia, the end only meant the beginning of your personal torment. No great mead halls awaited the fallen, only cold steel, emptiness, and being used to destroy that which you loved. As the skies above them rip open, so too does the earth below begin to quake and then tear open itself. A doomscar, a breach between realms. Though Kaldheim is a singular plane, its 9 separate realms did not overlap. Save for these fissures that could sometimes occur. When the races of different realms met, it was usually to wage war. And here again, they would wage a war, but this time as a united front. Through the Doomscar came countless longboats led by Omen Seekers, the bringers of these pathways. The cosmos and the gods smiled upon them this day. Even they knew it would take everyone to prevent Kaldheim's doom. Aboard the boats is a sight Tyvar or Harold had never seen before. Trolls, humans, dwarves sat side by side banging war drums and chanting. Giants waded in the water beside them. Valkyries flew and let loose divine arrows at their enemies. And the dead, ghostly reminders of their mortality, fought with the fury of life itself. As they board a longboat, the twisty nothingness of the cosmos shifts as they're taken to the end of Kaldheim, the glorious end, the roots of their world tree. The sky here is not truly formed, and still red roots pierce through reality, making their way to the very thing that holds all of the plane together. It's a mockery of the world tree, its evil mirror. If it anchors here, all of Kaldheim will be dining with the gods tonight, assuming even the gods could survive something like this, which sadly was in question. Still, nothing filled Tyvar's heart with passion more than a glorious fight, and there would be none more so than this. His tattoos, serpentine in design, began to glow, For all elves, they paid homage to the great cosmos serpent Koma. This glow meant their deity was near, but from its tear in reality, through this doomscar, something else emerged. What was once Koma was replaced by rusting steel plates and white bony protrusions. It was now a weapon of Elesh Norn's design. The corrupted Koma tore through a longboat like a twig. Tyvar lowered his head, fear gripping his heart. He never liked the feeling. He lifted his weapons high and jumped, meeting the gaping maw of the completed Koma as the branches of the World Tree are shaken. However the story of this day ends, the sagas will tell he was no coward. On the glittering world of Kaladesh, the once rebellious leader Pia, mother of Chandra, prepares for a coming attack on her city of Giapur. For years, she had fought to make this city a better place for its people. She fought back against corruption and foreign interests who deemed ether too precious to share with lowly inventors, who criminalized their great and passionate works. But thanks to Chandra and her friends, the Gatewatch, they made Giapur a better place. But then Chandra came home for her monthly tea, spreading news of a possible attack, of something called Phyrexia that would come for them. These warnings were echoed by the great inventor, Saheeli Rai, who too was a planeswalker much like her daughter. They were no mad women. These weren't the rantings of the unhinged. When they spoke, their words carried weight, even for those who simply couldn't perceive anything being not from Kaladesh. Still, Pia had listened and brought this threat to the ruling council and got their approval to prepare the city's defenses. She hadn't seen Chandra in a bit, but she prepared all the same. The streets had been evacuated, and the inventors were pulling doubles creating experimental weapons of Saheeli's design. Saheeli herself was working on a secret project she dubbed Operation Golden Scale. The city was as secure as it could be, and still, Pia held hope that Chandra and the Gatewatch would deal with this problem before it ever set foot on Kaladesh. She thought for sure her daughter would walk through the door and regale her of tales of how they clenched victory from the jaws of defeat, vanquishing another foe on a far-flung plain. But still, the day came, and even with all this time to prepare, Pia still stood in awe as the skies above Giapur opened up, and red rust rained down upon them. The giant roots of Elesh Norn's invasion gained purchase as scales shed off, attack pods filled with warriors of porcelain white and red sinew. One of these pods utterly crushed a home twice its size right next to Pia. Kaladesh was in for one hell of a fight. Though the streets were cleared, the guards and inventors with their magnificent weapons stood to defend their world. This was nothing like the rebellion she had led to free the city. There were no chants or slogans of freedom. There was no camaraderie. Just screams and despair. Saheeli's autoimmune defense response quickly activates, as giant golden-scaled lizards with teeth as long as her forearm crawl from the streets and meet the Phyrexian warriors head-on. Pia smiles at their effectiveness, but watches as the enemy brings one down, cutting through its abdomen with black ichor dripping into its inner workings. Soon, as Chandra said, it will serve Phyrexia, as will all who share its fate. Pia is picked up by a pilot. It's Saheeli Rai. Their preparations weren't enough. Their flagship was destroyed at the start of the battle, the branches of Norn's corrupted tree crushing it like it was nothing more than an insect. Their firepower wasn't enough to truly challenge it, so they must meet the lesser minions on the field instead until another opening presents itself. Their true mission is to protect the Aether Flux Reservoir. It's the city stores of Aether, the magical substance that fuels all the wonders of Giapur. Without it, the city falls. And without Giapur, Kaladesh soon falls after. Apparently, Elesh Norn knows the importance of the Aether Flux, or perhaps the Phyrexians are merely drawn to it instinctively. Either way, the mass of corrupted rush towards the reservoir. They meet up with an old renegade commander of hers, Baji, now helming a ship with illegal weapons on it. It may be held together with scrap metal, but it'll certainly put a dent in anything it fires at. Saheeli leaves them to rout more of her mechanical dinosaurs. Pia and Baji fly with confidence through the skies, only for a javelin to pierce through the cockpit and impale through Baji's chest. A Phyrexian bird with quails as feathers, screeching with metallic delight. As the seasoned pilot slumps over, Pia takes the wheel. She's never flown a machine like this before. She closes her eyes and finds peace. In peace, her will drives her forward. If she can only get through this, she will see Chandra again. They will have their tea together next month. They will. Elesh Norn's perfect creation, Atraxa, leads the assault on New Capenna personally. When first ordered, there was a small flicker of confusion. Why send her to attack this world? She would of course never question her mother, but still something in her had doubt. Norn had said something on New Capenna must be stopped. The font of Halo, as the natives call it. And still, something dangerous exists on this world for their kind. An aura that made her solid carapace tingle with anticipation. A hazy light that encompassed the invasion pods as they dropped through the clouds. The mother of machines wants this world scoured, and so it will be. This world was filled with sin and filth, and Atraxa would be their savior, introducing them to the One. The attack goes much like the others. Phyrexians attack and begin to assimilate the populace. As they join their family, Atraxa's mind melds with the newly transformed, gifted glimpses of their memories before all individuality is lost. She uses these minds to find what she's looking for. Some, calling themselves maestros, are the most curious. They speak of a museum, of things of beauty. The word feels strange to Atraxa. In moments after her creation, closing her eyes would show her images. Flashes of a flower growing in a field, a light fading, a carved figure. She understood these to be beautiful, but they're not Phyrexian, so they are abhorrent. Beauty to her now means anything against Phyrexia's unity, and whatever is against Phyrexia must be destroyed. Atraxa makes her way to this museum and is revolted by what she sees inside. Images of canvas and paint, depicting singular figures, monuments to an individual put above the whole. It was an affront to Phyrexia. She slashes it through. She delivers the same blow to anything the newly corrupted maestros found beautiful, hearing their final mental gasps before they accept their new purpose and join the fold. Near the back of the museum, she finds a grand carving of granite and marble, a statue, showing a mock battle between Phyrexians of old and inhabitants here. In its beauty, it mocks Phyrexia. They built a lasting reminder of their failure, the mortals' failure to join their unity. Why would they praise that? With a quick strike, it no longer mocks her. As she leaves the museum to continue her mission, she runs into another beauty. Stone faces of angels, statues. It burns her heart with a feeling she should ignore as a high-ranking Phyrexian leader. It's a reminder of what she once was, before her perfection. The reminder lands Atraxa into the throes of anger, lopping off the statues' heads and smashing it repeatedly until they're nothing but dust, paying no mind to the golden mist pouring from it, stinging at her eyes and burning her lungs. When finished, Atraxa was renewed in her glorious purpose, and sets back to attacking the large tower of New Capenna, the one which kisses the sky itself. She sees mortal beings climbing up it to escape their campaign. She sets Phyrexians after them with one silent thought. Though, they report a strange feeling as they climb, a burning and weakness. Atraxa looks up at the headless figures. A deep calm comes over her. Beauty is dead, and she can turn her attentions once more to the front, to the beings on the outside of the tower and what they might be planning. She leaves the platform, but the seraphs remain, watching her go, with their visitor hovering among them in a haze of color. They too speak among themselves, saying, "Why not stop her?" asks this visitor. "It is not yet time," they answer. It doesn't feel like the right answer, but the visitor cannot disprove it. Again, the voices ring out. Have faith. It's almost here, the end. You'll know what to do when we've gotten there. And there you guys have it, Chapter 4 of March of the Machine's story. This one was a bit of a journey, but one I'm glad we got to go on. One of my chief complaints of the modern storytelling in MTG is that we don't really get to see the various points of a story happen on screen. With March of the Machine, we could have easily glossed over the attacks on numerous worlds, and I'm sure some are going to be missed, but at least in this story and others to come, we get to see just how the planes are defending, or in some cases, losing to the Phyrexians' invasion. There seems to be this deep mystery happening on New Capenna. This visitor, unnamed in the story, is talking with the angels of the plane, possibly leading the Phyrexians into a trap. Who could it be? And what is their plan? My go-to answer will always be it's Elspeth, until she's actually revealed into the story herself and proves me wrong. But New Capenna is one of the places Elesh Norn feared most, and it looks like it's even had an impact on Atraxa. It's this essence of the angels, the halo, which causes her doubt, even if it is just for a moment. It causes her to act outside of strictly Phyrexia's best interests, destroying the artwork rather than searching for halo. So we'll see where this takes Atraxa. Oh, and a fun side note, Operation Golden Scales, Saheeli actually makes mech dinosaurs, finally. Everyone had been hoping for this ever since the day they shipped Saheeli and Huatli together. Even though Pia thinks of them as just big lizards, Golden Sun dinosaurs inspired by Huatli fits so much better. And honestly, it's a fun little Easter egg for those of you who actually read the side stories and kinda saw a small little relationship budding between Saheeli Rai and Huatli. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please consider leaving it a like, becoming a subscriber or a member of the channel, and of course, sharing it with your friends. It all goes a long way in helping this community grow. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, guys, see ya!